Welcome back to the channel, and today we're in my brand new lab here. See one of my videos about building my home office and lab, and this is one of the very first videos since then. Yep, we've got a device here which I've had for a little while now. I've just not really had time to actually get on with it and have a look at it. And this is a, there we go. It's a TC136SC tape recorder from 1975. It's a Sony. It's a lovely piece of 70s tech. It's got a good weight to it. It's got some lovely metal work here. There's one or two little marks on it, but it's a cracking little bit of kit here. What we're going to do is actually go around this, have a look through it, and see whether it works, and see whether we can make it work. Let's get on with it. So this is a lovely slab of 1970s tech here. Again, Sony TC136SD stereo cassette recorder with Dolby. It's got a lovely clicky power button. It's just got a lovely feel to it. Tape deck on this side with again eject, and it's not an eject where you put a tape into the slots here. You actually put it in and then you close, and then when you want to get it out, you've got your finger. So ergonomics aren't brilliant, but it works really well in terms of putting a tape in. So we've got Dolby NR, we've got a limiter. We can do the tape select, so it actually supports normal, ferric and chrome oxide there. We've got slidey controls, which was all the rage back in the mid-70s, for the microphone left and right, so you can choose the balance as you're recording, and also the line out volume, so you can actually choose how much voltage is coming out of the line out. This feels sort of semi-prosumer, that sort of just above consumer grade. So it's quite nice. Got two VU meters here, tape counter, and we've got the light for Dolby NR and record here, and up on the top here it says ferrite and ferrite head servo control auto shut off. I've seen this on high-end Sony reel-to-reel tape decks, so I think it is sort of supposed to be a relatively high quality tape deck. So yeah, we've got rewind, fast forward, all the buttons seem to go except the pause, which does, it's a bit weird. Need to have a look at that. On the front we've got a left and right mic and a headphone socket. It's in a lovely little period wood grain case. And we've got here, it says made in Japan. On the back, let's lift that up. We've got again voltage in on the left, voltage select, line out, line in, and also a DIN socket. There we go, a DIN socket for the record and playback. So it's pretty basic. On the bottom, there we go. That's all the stickers there. Got the Dolby Labs sticker. Yep, tape recorder. It will do multi-voltage, 8 watts, quite low. Serial number 42404. I don't know whether that's low in the actual build or not. I don't know. There's one or two scrapes here, and here it has been used. There's no doubt about that. Nothing else really on the side here. The only damage I can see is a little bit here, and a little bit just there. Otherwise, it looks pretty good. Now, I have actually cleaned this already, given it a little bit of a clean up, and so it's in pretty good condition. So, right, let me show you that. Let me get a tape and show you that tape deck and how you put tapes in. So here we have my TDK tape, and so to put it in, you actually put it into the unit like that, and you can actually play it and do things. So there we go. As you can see, it's all very mechanical. But when you want to get it out, you've got to get your finger in and lift it out like that, which is a bit of a bad ergonomic way of doing things. But yeah, I would have thought maybe... Oh, actually, no, there we go. I thought that might do it. So there we are. Okay. I didn't realise that. It's got a little thing there. So it's beautifully violent, isn't it? Sort of. Ah, there we are. But you can actually get your finger in there and pull it out. So yeah, I'll do that again. That's actually... Anyway, small things, please small minds. Right, so I have plugged this in. Doesn't go bang. VU lights light up here. Nothing much else. Oh, there we go. Nothing much else really works with it. So what I'll do is just grab a power cable now, and we'll see what we can show you. So it's now plugged in. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a shorter cable. This is hugely long. I don't know what it's for, but that's the best one I could find. I've got it plugged into my current limiting bulb. At the moment it's on load, so I need to do bypass. What this does is it basically limits the current going into the device, so if there is a short, then it protects the actual device itself. So I can switch between the two, and I can do it in real time as well. So if I... Oh, hang on, let's just reset the RCD, turn on, and turn on there. Now, as you can see, there's the VU meters, and it pegs it. Every so often it pegs it. Yeah, it's pegging the meters, so there's something going on there. So if I put a tape in, press rewind, I can hear the motor, but nothing's happening. Belts. It's trying to do something, so let's check that out. The belt on the counter seems fine. So there is movement from that. I don't know if you can see it, but there is movement. There is some sort of movement. The capstan pin there is definitely spinning. Press play. Yeah, so the capstan's definitely running, but none of the actual reels are running. So, okay. Well, let's take this apart and have a look. So the tape deck comes apart in two pieces. One is the base with the wood grain on there, and it looks like it's real. It's a wooden case with a plastic bottom. So yeah, that's nice. And then we've got the main unit itself, which actually again, it just comes out. And if I just turn it on here, there we go. We've got. Let's see what we can actually turn this upside down. Let's just lay this on my Guinness beer mat, which I've had for like forever. Back when it was a fashion to wear those on the back of your bomber jacket back in the 1980s. That's how long I've had that. Let's just rearrange this. Hang on. Let's just move that there. Right there. So yeah, look at that. Look at the belts. That is really quite loose. That one's a little bit less so yeah. I think we've got belt problems here. It's a lovely build. Let's spin this around. You've got the power switch here. Power supply, capacitors, fuses, nice big transformer, so it's isolated. It's very difficult to see because the light is a little bit off. Got some lovely little mechanisms inside there. We'll have a look at those later. So, okay, I think the first thing to do is to actually replace that this belt. See whether I've got one in my stocks. I might do both at the same time. I might not have both. So, okay, let's have a look at that. And it's just a thing here. It's got these weird screws. They're like a little point in the center. Flat. I don't know what they're called. But yeah. Okay. Well, let me see what I can find on the belt front. Okay, so the taking the plate off so I can get the second one off, the second belt off. There's the plate. Those two are the original belts. As you can see, they're quite deformed. I found these in my collection. They seem to be slightly smaller than those, but they're in relatively good condition. So these might be second hand. I'm not sure. They might not be new. So I've cleaned up the actual the guides themselves, the actual grooves on the motor and all of these, and so I'm just going to put them back in. Okay, so we've got all the belts working nicely. The belt I showed you just a second ago didn't fit properly. It was a bit too loose. This one's tighter, but it's also thicker. So, yep. I said my mess of a belt thing here is terrible. So, right. Let's get this plate back on to hold the capstan in, and let's see whether it actually works. Okay, so it's powered on. Let's power that up. Get the tape. Put it in. Do we get fast forward? No. Sort of getting rewind. No fast forward. Nothing. Okay, still more work to do. Right. So I've taken the shielding off. Just a bit of plastic with some metal on. Sorry, actually a bit of paper with metal on. And the serviceability of it is astounding. As you can see, I can just flip it open and you've got access to the rat's nest that is there. So you've got pots there in the centre to adjust the different balances on each of those controls. Yeah, there's the meters at the back. Those just there. Those are the 2 meters. And I don't know why they're pegging, but hey ho. Then you've got capacitor hell by the looks of it. That's going to be interesting to try and test up. I'm going to be doing a full recap of this if I can get it playing. I don't want to spend money on it and find that actually it's doesn't work properly. The mechanism doesn't work. So yeah, I think it just needs lubricating. So I'm going to do that right now. I managed to get the top off it, and as you can see, you've got access to absolutely everything. Came off pretty easily, actually. There was only a few screws. The build quality is just superb on this. It really is. It's absolutely superb. Yeah, I'm going to replace that belt if I've got one long enough, which is for the counter. It still works, but it's yeah. And I've just got to basically clean all of this up. Looks like it just needs all cleaning. All these there's a let's see whether I can, this crappy screwdriver something anyway. Yeah, so we've got these rubber rollers here on these, and there's one down there. So I'm going to give that a clean up, give this all a clean up, spray the pots here, or spray the sliders. Yeah, it's just a fantastic build quality. All metal cage on it. There's no sign of a date on that motor. I might have a look at that later. Yeah, love it, absolutely love it. I hope it works really well, and I can get it working, because it is a lovely piece. So right, let's clean everything up. So I've been working on this mechanism. I've taken everything out, including the capstan flywheel and all sorts of stuff like that. I wanted to get deep into this because there was something going on, and this arm here was rock solid, absolutely rock solid. it was just wouldn't move. So as this was moving back and forth, this wasn't moving into the right places. So what I've done is I've actually just tried to prise it apart a tiny bit and put some oil in there, and I've spent 10 minutes just trying to work it through. So it's now actually good, and that spring there holds that in place and puts the roller in the right place. So I'm just putting this back together again, and we can try it as well. It sometimes happens with these old pieces of equipment that actually been sitting around for God knows how long, and this has got a little bit of corrosion appearing here. Is that things just get stuck? They get gummed up. These bearings, they just simply they just simply go a bit weird, so a bit gummed up. So yeah, I'm just going to put it all back together again and then see whether we can try it. So it's taken me a little while to get this back together again. There was a number of other issues. This roller here actually is the roller which actually does the play. It actually takes up one of the spools. That was completely frozen up, and that's now moving nicely. The main arm, which was stuck, is now free. There was a number of other little parts which were also a bit stuck, but once they were free, that was fine. So I can show you the play mechanism. Sorry, pause mechanism in there was completely stuck, and it took a bit of effort to actually free it up, and I've lubed it, and that now stays on and goes off nicely. Belts have been replaced. This spring here disappeared. Little spring here, and it bounced away, and I managed to have to find it. Everything seems to be there, so let's just turn it over and let's see whether it plays and rewinds and fast forwards. So it's powered on. These meters are pegging. Something's going on there. So fast forward, play, and you can see this meter moving there, which means that it's actually picking something up. Let's just turn that down. Yeah, no, they're not doing anything. And then rewind, which is a bit slow. I think with a bit more use, it will actually get better and better on that one. Yeah, everything seems to be there. So if I press play, pause is working. Yeah, that's fine. I am worried about this. It's pegging that meter, which probably is a short circuit of some sort. Could be a capacitor shorted, I don't know. I found some pots there to adjust speed and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, actually the pot, that one down there is the pot for speed. I've got a test tape, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, this is starting to come back to life again. Most of this is down to sticky mechanisms where it's been sat and the grease has got so hardened up, and it was just gummed up really. So there's been no part replacements. It's just cleaning and that's it. So I'm pretty happy that the only thing that hasn't seemed to have worked is that. And yep, this is supposed to be able to record, and there's no record on it. So yeah, it's quite slow, that. I think a bit of use that'll be fine. Next is find out whether this actually thing makes a noise. I don't know. Let's find out. It's probably going to make a buzzing out of the one speaker. So right, let's just let that rewind. I'm going to try and find a long enough cable for the outputs of this and put it through the amp. Okay, so I've got this plugged into my amplifier, which is over there, and to my speakers. Now I don't want to do this for too long because I have a feeling this might actually make my speakers buzz, and I don't want to damage my amplifier or the speakers. So I've got the tape in a position where there's music. I'm going to press play. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Yep. Yep, that's a nice 50 hertz hum of some sort. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's turn that off. That was an interesting buzz. So, okay, we've got electronics problems now. So, what I'm going to do is, I just want to check something actually. Dolby NR. Dolby NR. Let's try that. Oh, hang on. Turn that on. Yep. No, that's not doing anything. Yeah, just pegging the meter. Yeah, I just wondered whether the actual light would come on, the Dolby NR end light, but it's not. So maybe the filament bulbs have burnt out. Yeah, so I'm going to start looking around the electronics and see what I can see. Any shorted or damaged capacitors. And yeah, see how we get on. So what I'm doing is I'm going through each of the boards and I'm basically recapping them. I've already done one down. Ooh, let's see if I can get in there. This board down here had 2 caps in it. This board here has got 3, 2 10 micropuffs and 147. Yeah, I'm just going to work my way through it. It's a bit of a chore, but yeah. And as I'm going through, I'm just looking at the tracks themselves. Let's have a zoom in. There we go. Can you see the tracks there and the solder joints, and seeing whether I see anything of interest. If it even winks at me, I'm resoldering it. So yeah, it seems to be an alright solder job on this. It's a bit grubby, but yeah. What's that? Okay. Yeah, let's zoom back out again. I don't have all the capacitors, the power supply ones here. I don't have anything suitable for some of these. I think I've got 2 of them, but the other 2000s I just don't have any stock in. So, but I'm just going to work my way through it and then look at things and see really if there's anything I can see which is nasty. Often just looking at this for 5, 10, 15 minutes, just looking at all the individual components is a really useful exercise. You get to see how the board is laid out, but also if there are any components which are bad. Yeah, and just working way through. I do think the power supply caps need replacing. They are big ones, but yeah, it's a very primitive power supply on this one. So I've actually had to stick the 2 meters back in because they kept on popping out. I've got another board down here which I want to actually open up and have a look. I'm really trying to do all the little individual boards first before I hit this one. I can only really see one IC in the whole device, and that is actually on this board. So let's see whether I can zoom in on that. There we go. A Sony 032B, whatever the hell that is. It's probably a Sony specific one. That's the only IC I can see. The whole thing. Otherwise it's all discrete circuitry here. There's another CAN over here I need to investigate. So yeah, I'm doing all the ancillary boards, and then I'm going to start on this and see how we get on. Again, just looking at all the connections, making sure everything's all good. That's it really. It's a laborious job, but I'm just going to keep on going through. Okay, so I've replaced all the caps on that board, all the caps on the small board down there. I've replaced the two 470 micropuffs on the power supply, and this has got a little full bridge rectifier on that. So it's a pretty basic power supply. I've done about 9 or 10 capacitors on this. And what I'm doing now is I'm actually testing it, just to turn it back over, test it, see whether there's any difference. I did notice that some of the cables were very close to that power, the mains power supply cables coming in, and the actual bare metal parts. So I've just moved them out of the way. Yeah, I'm going to turn it back over and see whether we've got a difference in the VU meters. So power's plugged in, everything's all in. By the way, my phone seems to be changing light levels and all sorts, so apologies if it's getting darker and brighter. Yeah, so here we go. Let's see whether we've got something. Well, the VU meters haven't bounced around. Oh, look at that. They're nice and stable. So let's put a tape in and plug it into the amp and see what happens. Right, tape's in. Phono cables are plugged in. Turn on. Play. We have audio. We have audio. Okay, let's push those up. That sounds nice and clear. Okay. Now, I did take quite a few caps out of the mix, and quite a few of them were in a pretty poor state. Lots of leakage, lots of ohms, various things. They weren't completely open, but yeah, they were pretty bad. And yeah, maybe moving that cable, some of the cables near from this away from the mains. Well, you know, I don't know. So okay, I'm going to actually do some testing with this. I'm going to actually run it for a little while and have a listen to the audio and see whether it sounds any better. I haven't got any tapes with YouTube audio library, and I do need to do one, so I can actually do these videos. But yeah, I'm going to run it for a little while and see how it sounds. Okay, so I've got a professionally made 3000 hertz speed calibration tape. I've had this for a while. It's the first time I've actually used it. I've also got my tablet with a Spectroid on, and it's calibrated for the 3000 hertz mark there, so I should be able to see it. So let's play the tape and see what we hear. Right, that high-pitched whine is... Oh, come on, zoom in, you little bugger. There we are, 2920. So, if I get my... Where is it? Where's it gone? There it is. Right. Sorry about the camera work there. If I get my... It's a very high-pitched whine, sorry for that, but... If I then adjust the tape, .297, .3015, oh wow, that's really touchy. Trying to get it just right. Oh, that's as close as I'm going to get it. There we go. So zoom back out. That's as close as I'm going to get it. So I've got the taped up back together again. I have touched every single solder joint on the main board. Every so often it would actually max out the VU meters, and it was still having a few problems. Since I've actually touched every single solder joint on that board, it's all been fine. So something was going on somewhere. While working on it, that VU meter bulb has burnt out. That one's not far behind it. These ones are both burnt out here. That's for the Dolby NR and noise reduction and the record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some LEDs with some resistors, and I'm actually going to replace all of those with LEDs. Yep, it's working. It's absolutely working. The rewind's a bit sluggish, but yeah, it's doing everything it needs to do. Unfortunately, I can't play this tape because it's going to copyright on YouTube. Its VU meters are bouncing away. Fast forward is pretty strong. Rewind is a bit sluggish. It's doing it, but it's a bit sluggish. Play is and pause is working absolutely fine. Yeah, it's back together again. So I've got a few things to do to this. Again, LEDs for the meters and for those lights. I haven't replaced all the capacitors on the board, the main board. I've done about 40%, so I'm going to come back and finish that off. I haven't actually had a chance to really try the record out. In fact, the record seems to be locked out, even though that tape has still got its notches in, so there may still be a problem with the record side of things. So yeah, it's working. It's doing everything it needs to do. Dolby NR is working nicely. The limiter's working. The tape select is all good. I haven't had a chance to try out the microphone or the line left and right, or the microphone and the headphone socket here, but I'll do that over time. So this is not a bad resurrection from completely dead and gummed up mechanism, bad caps and dodgy solder joints. And we actually have near enough a fully working deck, and with actually a very good sound. Actually, I've got to say it's very good. It's been calibrated to 3000 hertz on that test tape, on that professional test tape, so that's now running. The recordings I've got sound a bit slow, but it could be because the machines I recorded them on were running fast, so, or yeah, whatever way. So yeah, it's fine. So what we'll do is we'll chalk this one down to a good resurrection, and I'll be coming back to this one and potentially even using this on part of my hi-fi system. I'm not sure yet. It's got a very good sound on it. I must admit, it's decent. So okay, well, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. I'm a small channel. I appreciate all the support I can get, and I will see you on the next video.